Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest round in the Radical Esports Cup. Coming to you live here from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve tonight for the third last round of our second season in 2026 here on iRacing. This is a place that's going to receive a lot of attention, I suspect, in the next weekend, not least starting here in the Radical Esports Cup this season, because round 10 is here in Montreal. 17 laps waiting for us on this great street circuit. Myself, Ian O'Leary, and Jake Sperry bringing you the coverage on iRacing and Racebot TV with Mario Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras. It's Formula 1 this weekend here, Jake, at this very circuit, but actually I think these cars suit this circuit a little bit better. Because they're a little bit smaller, it means this circuit doesn't seem quite so narrow, and therefore it might not be quite as difficult to overtake as it might be in a few days' time. We'll see, but looking forward to seeing how these guys get round here.
So am I. It's the greatest weekend of motorsports, as you got the likes of the iRacing Indy, or you got the Indy 500 coming up. I'm so coded into getting all the iRacing shows that are going along here at the moment, but it is going to be an absolutely wonderful run to see them. I think we've got a really interesting race setup. This is a tale of two halves with a lap. It's technical for the first half. It's all about slipstream for the second, but it's the last real normalcy style circuit because you've got the Nordschleife and Adelaide to follow.
Yeah, indeed. They are unusual, to say the least, those final two circuits. So look forward to them. We'll be live, of course, same time, same place as always, here on a Friday night. In terms of how we're looking at the moment in the Radical Esports Cup standings, the iRacing standings are headed by Haber Gullikson now, 120 points ahead of James Barry, with Heinz Braun and Ketil Larsen next in line. They're only 2 points apart, and George Gonzaga not far behind them. Andre Castro slipped to 6th now, and it doesn't look like he's doing enough weeks in this season, unfortunately, to actually be a factor this season, although he is here tonight. Maybe if he'd be here for the last 3 rounds and last 3 weeks overall, not least in broadcasts or races we're not broadcasting, maybe he's got a chance. Rafa Blanco is 7th ahead of Peter Evany. Marcus Rocho, we haven't seen much of here on Friday nights, in 9th place. Haber Gullikson leads in the Racebot TV standings by 17 points now after picking up a 2nd place at Silverstone. He's been in the top 10 the last 7 weeks in a row in our broadcasted races here. Andre Castro has only been at 5 of them, but he's won them all. James Barry is 3rd, and then a big leap back to Sebastian Lipp, who leads the rest of them. Peter Evany rounding out the top 5, Heinz Braun, George Gonzaga, Jake Williams now in the top 10, Ketil Larsen, and Dennis Kyriakopoulos, who rounds out the top 10. He's been in the top 10 in our broadcasted races for the last 2 weeks in a row at Laguna Seca and Silverstone. Once again, cool track temperatures because it's an evening race this time round, the last evening race of the season. The last time we had an evening race, by the way, was never. This is the first one of the season, so there we go. 21 degrees Celsius on the racetrack tonight. So, what have we got? 22 drivers in the session. It's a big field, Jake, and as always, a mix of top names, big names, and some new faces we don't see every week.
One split, and that'll be the reason why he hasn't had enough to tip on over on that regard. Andre Castro is going to be desperate. He has had 5 race wins this season, but critically, on his 6th start last time out at Silverstone, he found himself unable to qualify the car, and then got involved with a couple incidents here and there, which basically made him retire from the race, and he couldn't get what he wanted. Second then with his attempt as he crosses over at about 4/10 behind James Barry, who's had a monster first lap out there on a 1:31 flat. He'll be really pleased with that, but if there is a driver who has got to settle in and say, I've got to put 3 races on the board back to back to back that suits him, Andre Castro's got to be the guy who does it. And the one thing that's not helping him championship-wise for the iRacing standings, the fact that it's single split. He really needs more help out there, more friends to come and race. He needs splits.
And we'll see whether even that is going to be enough with his performances in the late part of this season. But at the moment, it is Gullikson who leads the way. Heinz Braun goes to the top of this session, though. He's just crossed the line with a 1:30.8. Only just a 1:30.8, though. We'll call it a 0.9. James Barry just into the low 31s with his current best time as Castro comes down to the bottom of the circuit. Turn 10, the hairpin that brings him all the way down to the long straight now towards the final chicane and the famous Wall of Champions on the outside of that final turn on the racetrack. We'll see whether it claims any victims here tonight, as it so often has down the years. Here comes Castro, avoiding the curbs pretty nicely through the final chicane. And he will come up towards the line, requiring a big improvement as Kenny Crump goes into the wall hard through the other side of the circuit. Castro goes over the line, and he does improve, but he does not gain any places from there. So third place at best for Andre Castro, but there's a big gap behind him, which should see him hold on to at least third.
Yeah, and that's going to really hurt him. And I tell you what will also hurt is the fact that you've got Jesus Hernandez out there. He is not on a lap. He's just come out of the pit. He's been slow to get himself in, so he's going to be one of these drivers having to go from the back of the field. And critically, we've had 6 drivers not set a time at the back. From 15th is the best, so Hernandez will get 17th on the grid. But critical today, get a good qualifying position. It doesn't sound like this would be a circuit where that matters, because you've got lots of overtaking opportunities, but it is a very, very tight and technical start to this lap. Middle of the pack, very prone to having accidents or even track blockages through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, exactly. I would say you absolutely do want to be up towards the front here at this racetrack for those reasons. If not on pole exactly, then towards the front anyway, and there's definitely a front 3 defining themselves here in this qualifying session. Heinz Braun, James Barry and Andre Castro. Not too many big times to come through for the remainder of this session, by the way. George Gonzaga will be one of the bigger names to cross the line here before the finish. He's currently in 7th. We'll hope to at least jump up 1 or 2 positions here, and he will, I think. No, right, okay. Apologies. I thought he would thought he had some time left there, but apparently not. What it means, though, is that with 22 drivers in the session, 6 drivers won't set a time at all, which is highly unusual. Here are all the 22 in the entirety. Heinz Braun first, just over a tenth in front of James Barry, with Andre Castro third. Then a jump back to Ketil Larsen in fourth. Vuk Arsenjevic is then 5th, unusual name to see in this series, but a good performance. Top 5 ahead of Paki Caruso in 6th. George Gonzaga just over a second off the pole there, with Ryan Stringer then in 8th. Rafa Blanco and Kenneth Smith round out the top 10. Chris Wetson, then Dennis Kyriakopoulos will share row 6. Enrique Vela, Ole Henrik Gullikson, Patricio Silva and Brian Nicola, the last drivers to set times. At the back of the field, not setting times, Jesus Hernandez, Yuri Exposito, Daniel Bonovitz, Kenny Crump, Joshua Conde and Eder Augusto. We'll see how many of those start the race, but if all of them do start, it's going to be a busy field coming down towards the first chicane.
It's going to be a really interesting run through, and you look around, there are drivers who've got good pace. It is a who's here style race, so a lot of people jump up. I'm interested to see what Vuk Arsenjevic is going to do. I think that the Serbian's going to have a good jump, but he's got 4 incredibly good drivers like Ketil Larsen, Andre Castro, James Barry and Heinz Braun. And Braun, a very good tactical thinker out there, and he runs hot and cold. I think today this is his style of circuit.
Yeah, looks like it. We'll see where he gets to tonight. Hasn't scored a top 10 for the last 2 weeks as Braun in this series, on Friday nights anyway. That brought to an end a run of 5 in a row, including a runners-up spot at Spa in that dramatic race, that dramatic battle between Andre Castro and Jake Williams, where they came to a head eventually into no-name corner. Well, that was Braun stepping through into second behind the carnage there. He's got a chance to go one better tonight. A chance to continue this run for Andre Castro of not winning, which is unusual by his standards. He was 5 for 5 in 5 starts at Hungary until last week, as you say. So, see where he gets to tonight. As we're still waiting for Eder Augusto to get onto the grid. We will not wait any longer. 21 drivers it will be to get away from the grid here at Montreal. Relatively long haul, but the Radical Esports Cup is underway, and Heinz Braun able to pull across James Barry immediately, but Barry's going to go around the outside of turn 1. He'll tuck back in though in time for the hairpin, as will Castro. In fact, the top guys all will do so. Larsen will do the same. Caruso and Gonzaga get past Arsenjevic on the way through the opening couple of corners there, but everybody filtering single file very early on in this opening sector.
Big trouble in the back. Enrique Vela caught up in it. Yuri Exposito is there in trouble too. I think Brian Nicola was involved as they were making the short shoot run between 2 and 3. Just the case and trying to get a little bit of a cut over to defend the position. There was overlap and massive contact into the wall went along. But as they run to the 8 and 9 chicane, Braun will be happy at the front of the field until the point he realises that by the time you get out of Lepangle turn 10, the draft is going to make all the world's worth of difference.
Look at the dust and whatever coming towards turn number 1 here for these guys towards the back. That's very clumsy, isn't it? Down the back end of the field, I'm afraid, through turn number 2. With meatballs already, by the way, are Enrique Vela and Yere Exposito, ones primarily involved in that opening sector incident. For the most part, though, the guys at the front getting clear. Heinz Braun still leading in front of James Barry, then Andre Castro. Those front 3 beginning to get themselves away from the rest. Here's what happened behind. Oh, Brian Nicola, the one who initially makes contact and goes round like a spinning top as well. As Heinz Braun's got to slow down out the final chicane in live pictures, he's going to drop way down. It might even be more than a slowdown. He's going to drop so far down. Barry and Castro in the clear.
Worst time to have a slowdown, end of lap 1, start of lap 2, and Heinz Braun knows that now all too well as he drops to 8th place behind Rafa Blanco, trying to serve it. You don't have any delta out there to tell you what a reference of a slowdown is, and so he'll be down, and it is the toughest place in all of sim racing as well, Ewan, to get a slowdown penalty. He'll be down, probably he has to serve about 4 seconds.
Yeah, it is very punishing, and as you say, the first lap, the first time through that chicane is the worst for getting that slowdown, especially because, well, we did see all that carnage behind. The leaders, the top 15 or so, had top 14, 13, had a very clean start indeed, and that meant that everybody was very close together for Heinz Braun to drop behind here. Side by side to the chicane, meantime, in the background, as Artenovic is trying to regain some of these places. Blanco is there, so is Heinz Braun as well. See it on the bottom of your screen, a little bit of a pinch on the brakes there, coming down towards the hairpin from one of them, but Artenovic managing to get back into 6th position at least, and stopped it from getting any worse here, despite dropping down the field earlier. Here's Rafa Blanco looking at Braun, as meantime for the lead, Castro's going to get past Barry. They're going to exchange positions amicably, and they'll filter it out in this 3-way battle as well for 6th position as Heinz Braun regains some of those places again. But Castro leads coming towards the end of lap number 2, and normally he's never seen again in these scenarios. Let's see if James Barry can stay with him this time.
Well, I think he will be seen again. I think the draft's too powerful here. You're just going to have to be patient, buy your time, know the right time to make it happen. Shettle Larson 3rd and Paki Caruso there in 4th place. Braun made that good pass as well with the help of the bump draft from Rafa Blanco on Arsena Jevic there. And Arsena Jevic now pulls himself in 7th position, needing to work through. But this is going to be a patience game. Because that draft is so strong that you can make a move from half a second, 6/10 of a second back into that final chicane, I think placement is going to be the aim of this one. Where do you want to be? What place? What lap? And so drivers like Shettle Larson and Paki Caruso here, I think they're staring down the barrel of, we're probably going to need to make a move, and we're probably going to need to make a move by about lap 15 to be in position to strike on lap 17.
It's all about calculating that end of the race, trying to make sure you're in the right position for that end of the race. Like this slipstream is going to be too powerful for Castro to do what he normally does. He's dominated so many times this season in situations where he's got to the front, even when he hasn't been leading the whole time, like at the Hungaroring, if you remember a few weeks ago. He got to the lead and he was never seen again. There goes Caruso down the inside, and that might have been a curb hop. Oh, Braun's done it again! Heinz Braun's done it again! And it looks like he might have even found the wall this time. That was a massive hop over the curbs, and at the very least, he's got to slow down. Meantime, Barry takes the lead back again into turn 1. So while Castro took it into the final chicane, Barry decides that turn 1's the better location, and that was Gonzaga wide as well through the first chicane. Everybody behind falling apart here while this front 4 escape away.
Well, Heinz Braun went for a mighty move. This is Kenny Crump out there on the straight, so he now finds himself in position.
No.
Oh, and again, it's another tag with Brian Nicola, who doesn't quite know where he is, out on circuit, and then that creates the drama where both of them find themselves out then as far as this race is concerned. Just a horrible day's worth of contact for them. But for Heinz Braun, he just went marauding in at a rate of knots into the final chicane, past George Gonzaga, and then went over the curbs, couldn't control it, and all of a sudden he found himself in the wall of champions, and a lot of drivers in trouble then with the damage that comes along following on from that. They won't mind at the front four happy, but Patrick Caruso's got to be a little bit concerned here. If he falls outside of a second and a half, drafts good from 2 seconds back here in these radicals, but you don't want to be 1 second back because you just get that faint, I would say, tidbits at the bottom of the table out there.
Well, Barry is going to hold on this time into the chicane. Before, Castro was able to make the move into here, but don't forget Barry was able to do it at turn 1 anyway. So maybe Castro is going to repeat that. No, not this time. He's too far away at the end of lap number 4. So they follow one another through. These front 4 now are well and truly getting away. Whether that was Castro electing to stay behind Barry there or whether he just couldn't get past, not sure. But it is definitely allowing this front 4 to escape a little bit. This is what's left of the battle for 5th place. George Gonzaga is in this position now in front of Rafa Blanco. And they've got a gap behind them as well. This field very much spreading out now as the Montreal is beginning to bite already.
Yeah, it's got a reputation for it, and people think, oh, the Montreal was easy, it's been on the calendar of Formula 1 for 40-odd years, and everyone turns around, looks at it and realises, oh no, it is difficult, it is a street circuit, it's almost perfect as a street circuit to go out and deal with, and the thing that's going to bite you is the fact that those chicanes are tight. It's single file as you go in. There's no margin for error on the outside of these corners. And the one thing that I look around, I see what iRacers go for, and they always say, oh, we'd love a street circuit, we love a street circuit. But then when you get to a street circuit, the issue they have is keeping it out of the wall on the street circuit, because the margin of error is just put so much thinner. And this is Kenny Crump, who has another big moment there, trying to catch the tank slapper off the exit of 9. So easily done. They're just being a little bit too aggressive with right foot.
It looks very similar, does it not, to his qualifying crash, actually, we saw a little bit earlier on. Struggling on the power there out of turn 9. He's into the wall again. Barry still leads. He holds the lead again. So we go back to the battle for 8th on the bottom of your screen. Arsenovic is now in this fight with Chris Wetz and Ryan Stringer just in behind. So groups are starting to form and they're less likely to start fighting around. But there you see it on the right-hand side. Heinz Braun into the pit lane, and he has been there for a minute and a half or so now. That's one of the top contenders. Eventually blows hot and cold a little bit. Unfortunately, this is going to be a cold day for him, and it will be his 3rd week in a row outside of the top 10 here on Friday night, sadly for Heinz Braun. And yeah, that's going to be a lowly finish from him. We'll see if he can get back out again, because others are doing so. But a shame, really, that one of those top contenders has fallen by the wayside so early here.
Well, that's racing for you. Sometimes you don't get everything your own way and how you like it. Ryan Stringer here in the Scorpio Esports car. He's going to move to the right-hand side, try and pull off a move down into Le Pangle. Tightest corner on this circuit, and that's the pass on Chris Wett. 4th position, so we'll be happy with that. Here comes Andre Castro, though. Is it going to be an overtake, or is it going to be a bump draft? He elects for the bump draft instead of the pass, and I think that is an interesting decision, because it depends on how close you get to determine whether you want to go for the move or you just want to push them along. And I think it's going to get even more tactical than that as they go, as there has been a pass between George Gonzaga and Rafa Blanco. That's a move for 5th place, but that's a look from behind then from James Barry, who will realise he needs every point he can get if he wants to chase down Robert Gullickson.
Sadly that Gullickson is not here tonight. He will, I'm sure, be racing this week in other races, but he will be missing out on one of the bigger point scorers on a Friday night. It's very well attended week on week, this time slot, hence why we broadcast it. And top names are usually here, including Gullickson, who's almost every week here. He's only missed out on a top 10 once this season. That was at Suzuka week 2. Fortunately, he is going to miss out for a 2nd time, and it's right at the business end of the season, with James Barry chasing him down in the iRacing standings and in the Friday night standings, I suppose, for Andre Castro doing the same. They'll be much more worried about the iRacing standings, I'm sure. Out of the hairpin, and it's a good exit from Castro. Now, does he decide to do the same again? Has that sort of set the tone for what he's going to do to sort of lap 15, 16 sort of time in this race? Or was it just a one-lap thing? Is he just searching around for things at the moment? No, he's doing it again. So I wonder whether this is going to be a theme now for the next 8 laps or so.
I think it's also trying to keep Paki Caruso and Kjetil Larsen out of range here, because if they jump in on the train, if they get in closer, that's more names that you've got to worry about. You're going to have to start being defensive in that regard. And you don't want any more cooks spoiling the broth out there as Gonzaga and Blanco continue on. And they're looking behind as well, because at the moment it is a Rafa Blanco sandwich on some inert bread right now, as Dennis Kyriakopoulos, the Swiss driver, now starts to claw his way back into this group. And I think he'll be eyeing this, a gain of 5 so far, and going +7. I'd take that in the inert Argon car.
Absolutely. It's a very nice gain so far. And we haven't seen too many of those, to be honest, through the field. Those real big movers forward, but see if we can see that in the coming laps here, because 5th place is probably all they can manage, those guys. This is Edo Augusto, by the way, spinning around, coming through the hairpin at turn 6 there. Brian Nicola having more trouble as well. This is damage and slowing down to let the leaders pass. Leaders now who are extending themselves away from that group in behind. Barry and Castro working together here. Or is it just Castro working with Barry, trying to get themselves further away? Because Barry wasn't showing any interest in staying behind Castro when it was the other way round, but vice versa. And you've got this situation of a front 2 getting away from Paki Caruso. 8 laps completed, about to reach the halfway mark. It is a front 2. But we may have to spend some time waiting before this battle at the finish properly transpires, and we can see who's actually going to take this. There's a lot to play out until then.
Well, it's called game theory, and it's the theory of, if you make a move, if you make a pass, what is the move that is going to guarantee victory? And unfortunately, in a race like this, you can make the move at any time along the back stretch towards turns 13 and 14 to end the lap. The best move is make it on the last lap into the final corners. That's just the way the race is. Andre Castro has played this game many a time before. James Barry has played this game many a time before. I don't think James will be happy he's getting a push. I think he will be in the sense that Paki Caruso's there behind. I think if you're leading and you've got a driver who wants to push you to second, I'd maybe try and hide a 10th of a second here, a 10th of a second there through the corners. Try and get that group behind to catch you up and create that little bit more chaos that you need to break away.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think it's higher risk, but could be higher reward by the end of the day. But Castro and Barry are working together here very well. The group for 5th place are very much on their own, and so they are more likely to fight, although Kyriakopoulos is waiting. Well, is he? He looked a bit indecisive there as he was looking at George Gonzaga, but Rafa Blanco gets himself through. We'll see whether the Swiss driver does the same here on the way towards turn 1. No, he'll stay behind. There's his teammate, basically teammate, since they're part of the inner racing team, although not specifically scoring the same points for the Radical Sim Racing Championship, for example, hence the slight variation on their livery. But Blanco goes through, and look at the way he's skipping to a few tenths away already here. Gonzaga going to have to work hard to keep him in close here in this battle for 5th.
See how wiggly this Radical is under brakes here, and it goes down to the fact that this is the track day car to go out within the SR10. It's got 350 brake horsepower in a car that only weighs about 750 kilograms. So when you turn that around, you're pulling over 500 brake horsepower per ton out there, and it is truly a fearsome car to go and get correct. It spools up with a lot of wheel spin. You've got to be very careful into the corners, because even a small gust of wind is enough to send you a little bit off course, and so you have to be tactical with it. It maybe doesn't have as much top end speed as maybe some people would want out of a car like this, but it is so nimble through the corners.
Oof, that was just for a moment looking very unsettled from James Barry there over that curve, but you do have to manage those through the final chicane, and Barry does so, with Castro still trailing him. On to lap 11 now, 7 to go, including the one that they have just begun. Caruso and Larsen all but out of it at the moment. As one of the lap cars gets out the way there. That looks like Eder Augusto, who's 6 laps down. Still going, in fact, of the 22 who eventually got out here. Augusto, of course, didn't actually take the start on the racetrack, but joined a bit later. 20 of them still running at this stage, just showing how the points really matter to these guys. And the likes of Heinz Braun on his way back out again to try and pick up whatever he can from the remainder of this race, but he's already down in 90th position himself. Not long to go now, not long to wait until Castro will finally have to make his move on Barry. Surely something, he's going to have to show himself, he's going to have to make a first attempt at some point, and it's going to be coming soon.
It's not just the fact that you're going for points, it's the iRacing and the safety rating as well that you look at here. So you've got to keep the elo up, race against drivers of similar skill. You'd never want to be the wrong end of a track going down, say out of 5k to 4k to 4k to 3k, for example. But you also want to be looking at your safety rating, and that will unlock various categories out there, from your D license 4.0 as you come out of rookies, all the way up to your A-class license, and the pro license that drivers like Andre Castro, for example, have held over the course of their career. So I would look around at it and say there's a lot of reasons why you want to go out there and why you want to run, and actually it leans in very nicely here with about 6 laps to go here, to next week at the Nordschleife, which is fabled for being the greatest safety rating gainer circuit out there in iRacing.
And it used to be our championship finale here in the Radical Esports Cup every single season, so doing the series used to be quite a reliable way of seeing the Nordschleife often. We don't see it so often anymore, and it's not the finale this season either. However, it is on the schedule. As you say, it is next week. It is just 4 laps around there. That will be just in the morning. That will be setting us up for a Adelaide finale in 2 weeks' time as well. We'll see what's still to play for by the time we get to there. With oh dear, with the points. This is Patricio Silva over the grass on the bottom of your screen there. Kenneth Smith going to come through here, and somebody stuck right behind them, Heinz Braun, it looks like, who is a couple of laps down at the moment, as we've said, and just watches on in this battle for 12th. There goes Smith, and gets into 12th there, firing down the inside, as Castro now himself fires down the inside. So 5 laps to go at the line, and Castro has made his move, perhaps a lap or so earlier than we might have expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to go this early, but I'm sure Andre Castro's got a plan, and he'll go and work with it. That was a lovely livery, by the way, by Kenneth Smith. It was one that was a homage to the old Porsche livery that ran, of course, in Nürburgring, I think, about 8 years ago. Blanco as well, through on Gonzaga once again, but now is the chance for James Barry to sit back and play patient, and I think he is in the perfect place. If I was in this race right now, and I was put in the position of Castro and Barry, I right now want to be in James Barry's shoes.
Yeah, you would rather. I mean, I feel like it's so difficult at Montreal because it's one of those circuits where sometimes you're you want to be in second, you know, and want to be taking the lead and whatever. But I mean, it's not a guarantee like it is at some other venues. Like, well, I say it's never a guarantee, is it? But you know, it's much more likely at places like Daytona, for example, where you want to be second on that run to the line, and as long as you don't really mess it up through that final bus stop chicane, you will get there by the start-finish line. It's not quite like that here.
That Ryan Stringer has gone for a slide. He's lost 2 places for it to Ole Gullikson and Chris Wett. It was out the 3rd chicane. To the outside is Brian Nicola, but Gonzaga's going for the move. Barry's sitting back there. He's not going for it at the moment, but we're getting towards that crunch time here, and I'm sure there's going to be a handful of drivers who want to try and get the end result. And I'm looking at these 2 inert drivers, and I'm just thinking that Rafa Blanco is getting a chance to run away.
Yeah, he's a little bit. Oh dear, as Arsenovic has now gone off and drops outside of the top 10 now officially as well. Might have disappeared completely. Yeah, seems to have gone. Might have disconnected, so that's a real shame for him. Meantime, Brian Nicola's been having more trouble here. Just coming to a stop, I think, here on the left-hand side. He's maybe giving it up now. Just in front of the leaders he was at the time. There's Ryan Stringer's spin, but despite all that, he's still in the top 10 and by 11 seconds as well, which shows how attritional this race has ended up being.
It looked there for Arsenijevic like he had a screen freeze or something of that ilk. That's why he's dropped it over and he's now out of this race, because he can't do anything else about it. So real shame for him. It was nice to see him out there. He had a good turn of pace, but ultimately his day is written and done as far as it goes. But you got that battle on the top of your screen for first. This is for sixth. Down on the bottom of your screen, as Blanco has now got his chance to run away. James Barry close, getting in the mirrors of Andre Castro, not to make a move, but just to see if he can force a mistake. And Andre, the way that he drove that, ragged the car through the final chicane, he's really driving this one in a style that is very rear sensitive out there. I guess he wants to feel what the car's doing through the corners the way he's driving.
The aggression's going to be turned up here, and it's going to come to a dramatic conclusion between this front two. Bottom of your screen, it is now just Gonzaga and Kyriakopoulos who's going to fight for sixth place. Rafa Blanco has been let away now. He is not going to be caught, I would have thought, by those two, unless there is an error. Caruso and Larson are not too far apart either, as there's lap traffic to play a role in all this as well. So much still to unfold here with 2.5 laps remaining. Castro struck early, much earlier than what we were expecting on James Barry, so roles have been reversed here, and Barry, I think, has assumed the role that he was assuming that Castro would assume in the earlier stages of this race, when he was trailing in for second place for so long and was maybe going to make that move late. Well, now it's up to Barry to do exactly that. Down the pit straight, or the back straight rather, towards the pit straight they go, towards the final chicane. It's 3 laps to go now for Barry. Third last occasion where he could go down the inside here at the chicane, and he had a little look there. I don't know if he was in two minds really about making his way through, but he had a look to the inside, maybe just to only get in the mirrors. He has made moves at turn 1 as well earlier in the race, don't forget, but not this time. 2 to go, and he still trails Castro.
I think he's really giving him food for thought here. James Barry is just prodding and poking at this one, and he's trying to get Andre Castro there, and it's very much the meme of, come on, do something, make a mistake, drop me out. That's the level where we're seeing this at this point in time, and I think that, you know, James Barry, if he's going to want to win this, he's going to have to do it of his own accord. He is going to have to try and take points away from Andre Castro, but when he's been in a winning position, never got rid of it out there. That much we do know, but I think what's going to be key is the lights flash, the traffic then is dealt with as they go by. That was Daniel Bonowitz that they've gone and got themselves through on. I think James Barry's in the right place. I think he's eyeing this up for the last lap. That is a big amount of oversteer on the power, though, for Andre Castro. This might be the move now.
It might be early. Here comes Barry to the inside with that mistake from Castro. No, he decides not to go for it. He decided not to. He could have absolutely done that, but chooses to leave it for another occasion. This is the penultimate lap of the race, so there's not many more opportunities that are going to come along like that. Has Barry just given away his best overtaking chance of this race remaining just because of a decision there? He pulls alongside. Castro looks like he wants to let him through. Barry doesn't look like he wants to go past, though, and the cat and mouse games have really got underway now. The white flag's out. Castro leads them onto the final lap of this race. It looks like at the moment, though, neither of them want to lead.
But if they keep playing these games too much, they will allow Caruso and Kjetil Larsen back in. They're only 3 seconds adrift here in their race for third. And so if that becomes a case where they say after you, no after you, no after you, they're going to take themselves out of a chance for a victory. Castro really turning on the binders there through turn 4. Pulls the gap out to 0.4 of a second. But the critical matter of fact is they've got the message. We're going to have to go for it. I'm going to have to try and outrun you in the Burasud Plus hybrid car. Then will Andre Castro. But James Barry has seen this all before. He knows how to win races like these. He's just got to put it together. And we know the draft is super strong. He's let so many opportunities go, but this one he has to take, Ewan.
There's no more chances left after this one. Into the hairpin, he can't do it, but he wasn't gaming for it anyway. He was going for an exit out of that hairpin and going for the move into the final chicane. He's got a decent enough exit. You'd think he can do this here. He might even be clear by the braking zone. James Barry in the slipstream pulls alongside and through. Castro can't do anything. Barry's going to be clear before the chicane, and as long as he doesn't get it wrong, he's going to win this race. James Barry holds on through the final chicane, and he wins here in Montreal with a last lap pass over his big rival Andre Castro, who slows down in despair towards the line. He finishes second in the end, only just in front of Caruso and Larson, who had their own fight towards the finish there. And behind, Kyriakopoulos and Gonzaga are having exactly the same for sixth position as well. Into the final chicane and over the line, Kyriakopoulos just about beats his teammate, but the last lap pass from Barry wins in that race, and Castro couldn't do anything.
Well, that was the story of the race. You knew that the draft was going to be so strong that you got to get there. There's a massive accident through the final corners between Patricio Silva and Kenneth Smith. So now it's going to be a race out there to see who gets over the line, and ultimately Smith's going to win that over Patricio Silva, who had to do a J-turn. But Kyriakopoulos here getting himself the pass, and it was close between these two over towards the line. Not much between them as they finished, but critically, Andre Castro knew that was the way you're going to win the race, and he tried to reinvent the wheel. Wheel's still good there, Ewan.
Well, James Barry wins this race, only just by 2.5 seconds in front of Andre Castro, and Paki Caruso ends up on the podium. Didn't see their fight, but he just got ahead of Ketil Larson there at the end. Rafa Blanco rounds out the top 5 ahead of Kyriakopoulos and Gonzaga. We saw their fight there. Chris Retz led Ole Henrik Gulliksen and Brian Stringer home for a top 10 finish. 11th to Jesus Hernandez, who got ahead of Kenneth Smith and Patricio Silva. Those on the lead lap, Daniel Bonovitz and Joshua Condit were 1 lap down. 3 laps down for Enrico Vella, Vuk Arsenovic and Brian Nicola. 5 down for Heinz Braun, who did get across the line in the end, as did Eder Augusto, who didn't actually start on the racetrack with everybody else. Kenny Crump and Jere Exposito retired pretty early on in that race. Let's have a chat, shall we, to the race winner tonight, James Barry, who joins us now. James, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on a win tonight in this race. You were passed by Andre Castro with about 5 laps to go there when you'd been leading for quite a while. Did that surprise you? And what did you think was up his sleeve then when he went past you in that moment?
Yeah, hey guys, it was a weird one because I would have normally thought that Andre would have the confidence to go past me and try and pull a gap on me. And then I think he went past me early in the race. Then let me go back past and then decided he wanted to stay behind, so I thought maybe he just doesn't have actually that much confidence. Maybe he thinks I'm pretty quick. So then for him to go past when he did, obviously then he, surely the game plan at that point is to then see if he can pull a gap, and he couldn't, which obviously I'm very happy about. I was really happy that I could then stay close behind him, which I fail to do sometimes, at many tracks with Andre. He's just a super quick driver. But I had a really good pace today, I think. I managed to keep behind him, and then, from my experience being in front of him, I didn't really know how to defend into the last chicane, because it seemed he went to the inside and he was still able to make it stick. So then I thought hopefully better for me to be the attacker at the end, and it's a risky play. I don't really normally want to leave it late like that, and I don't remember many times I've done the last corner and overtake for the win. So I'm just super happy that I just nicked in front at the end and managed to get in front. Yeah, really, really happy.
Indeed, it doesn't happen too often. I want to talk to you about the overall season, because the iRacing season, because Havik Gulliksen actually wasn't here in this race tonight. However, he's leading the standings ahead of you. You've always been telling us, it often seems to happen to you actually, that you get out front early and you're always very much like, well, they'll catch me later with the drop rounds or whatever. What is the scenario this time around, do you think, with 2 weeks to go after this one? Is it between just yourself and Hubbard? Is it also Andre Castro making a late charge if he's here at the last few weeks? What's the scenario, do you think, with 2 weeks to go after this one?
I think it's between Andre and Horvath at this point. I think, even today, the points is not much because it was a single split. Horvath got really good points on the board already this season, and then Andre's obviously been doing really well in his races, so it's going to be between those two. We're just going to have to see. Just looking at it now, Horvath's got a big advantage, but Andre will have closed that a bit. So it's going to really depend on if Andre turns up in the last races. You can ask him about that when he joins you now, and let's see. Hopefully it can be a close one.
Well, I look forward to you being much closer to them than you let on, as sometimes happens. But no, congrats on winning tonight, James, and thanks for coming to chat to us at the end, as always.
Yeah, cheers, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. James Barry, the winner tonight on the road at Montreal, in front of Andre Castro, who joins us as well. Andre, second place for you tonight. We were just talking to James about that decision you made with about 5 laps to go to pass him, rather than sort of leaving it to the very finale, if you like. We've heard it from his perspective. He was rather confused at the time. What was the idea behind making an earlier pass than conventional around here?
Just that I was screwed either way. I mean, it's on lap 2, I lightly tapped the wall in the last chicane, and I guess some genius at iRacing decides that should take away like 15 miles an hour, or sorry, 15 horsepower from your car, or just make a massive parachute that you can't really overcome. I mean, I'd be happier getting like bodywork damage or a tire rub or break my suspension or something, but that damage model makes 0 sense. But yeah, after that, it was pretty much over. Like, unless I was thinking maybe around lap traffic or something, maybe one of them would get in his way, and maybe I could pull away a little bit, because I was quick in the infield but not in the straights, and well, nothing you can do about that, I guess, except for not hit the wall, but alas.
All right, too late once you've done it, I suppose. I want to chat to you about the overall iRacing season as well. We just heard from James Barry there, who said, in his opinion, it's between you and Hubert Gullickson, who wasn't here in this split tonight. First of all, what's the outlook like in the next 2 weeks? Are you going to be doing enough races to compete, do you think? And if so, then what's the competition going to be like? Who do you see as the real contenders this iRacing season?
I have no idea. I think the Nürburgring is going to be pretty important next week, so whoever does well there. It's just unfortunate because we started to get a pretty low car count here, so the races aren't splitting, and we're not getting as many points per race. And definitely missed the 5,000 SOF days when I was battling, Christoph and James and all those guys. It seems like we need to do something to get back to that. I don't know if we can ever get back to that, but I'll just keep racing and see what happens. I mean, do the next couple SOFs. Nordschleife and Adelaide should be fun generally, so. Just gonna have fun and see what happens, and yeah, just, I guess, managed to salvage second today, and it was nice to get my mind off just a pretty emotionally tough day yesterday with Kyle Busch passing. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, I know this weekend will be tough with all Motorsport Series watching it, but grateful to get to race and be back next week.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you next week, Andre, as always. But for now, thanks for chatting to us tonight, and congrats on second place.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks very much. Andre Castro, the second-placed finisher tonight at Montreal. Unconventional strategy, but as always, Jake, when we chat to them afterwards, it all falls into place. Castro felt he never really had a chance anyway. It didn't seem like that watching it, I must say, and he hid the damage quite well. But, in the end, it's James Barry's night, and it remains a very close championship, although, as always with these iRacing standings, it's the beauty of them. Nobody has 100% grip on quite what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks.
No, they don't. And I think that's really important to understand. 2 races, 2 weeks are going to be 2 completely different affairs. You have no idea what's going to happen in the race. For all we know, you can crash out of one of them. Your rival can crash out of 2 of them. There's no guarantees out there in terms of anything that you go out there and do. And so when you head to the Nordschleife in 7 days' time, Ewan, I would look at that as the great unknown. Either you know that you can get yourself round it, or you don't. You can't see it as a sprint race. You have to see it as an enduro, even though it's a 4-lap run around it.
Indeed. Just 4 laps next week at the Nordschleife. It's always an unusual place to go, but always a fun place to go as well. Make sure you join us same time, same place here on the iRacing YouTube channel and on Racebot TV as well, of course. We'll be live 2100 GMT as always on May 29th. Between now and then, we'll be live with the Radical Americas series from Montreal on Sunday night as well from Racebot TV, so make sure you join us for that too. I've been Neil O'Leary alongside Jake Sperry tonight with Ramiro Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras of this broadcast. We'll be back in 1 week's time on the Nordschleife. Until then, it's goodbye for now.
Lovely.
Oops.